Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the MD-25 from Primary Arms. Let's get right into the first 30-second breakdown. That's where in the first 30 seconds, give or take, I give you guys my exact thoughts on this product before getting into the full review. You guys either can stop watching because now you know my thoughts, or you guys can continue watching and get a little more information on why I say those things. All right, so with this Optic, I was able to get this early before it was released, and I've been doing testing with it since. So I really appreciate Primary Arms for sending this to me early so I can get testing done and give you guys a video right when it's released so you guys can get a really good idea. Not pre-release, but right when it is released, you guys can take a look at the video and see exactly what I think. So I've been able to get quite a few rounds through this. It's really been living on the CZ because I've been having a lot of fun with this Scorpion. So I've been getting a lot of rounds through it. It's got a large field of view. That's one of the biggest things I really like about it. I think the size, the shape, everything about it, the design, it does look well. It looks a lot like an MRO. That's what a lot of people are saying. It feels and looks durable. I haven't done any torture testing on it and drop tests on it yet, but it does look solid. It doesn't look really flimsy. It's coming in at $170, so that's a really good price point. This is their standard line, so it's kind of like their entry-level optics. So they're cheaper, has 11 brightness settings and the 2 night vision, so it does have some nice options for what it comes with. Now, the only thing I would say, I'd really like to see them add their auto on, auto off feature, because I know they're making that because they just have that on the new 2 times that I'm testing, which is right here. So I'll be doing a review when that one gets released. But I really wish they would have added that feature to it. I know it would have bumped the price up a little bit, but I think that feature would have made this Optic a lot better, because I think at this price point, there are other optics that I think I would rather go with and put a little bit more money on just so I have that auto on auto feature, because I think that's such an important feature when you're looking for something on a primary gun, something you're going to carry all the time. But for a range optic, I think this is a really good option. Now to get into my relationship with Primary Arms, they did send this to me to test. Like I said in the 30-second breakdown, this was a pre-release test. So it's really cool that they sent me this early so I can actually get all my testing done before it's released, so I can do the video right when on release date, which is today. And I'm able to give you guys all that information immediately instead of getting it on release and then you guys have to wait for me to test it, because I usually test it for a couple months. Make sure I have a lot of rounds through it and get a really good idea for how the optic is before doing a video. So this way it gets you guys immediately. So I've already done all my testing and you guys can see how it is. So I really appreciate them for doing that for me. So let's get right into the full review now. Okay, so let's go into pros and cons. First pro is, I think, the price. $170 is a really good price when you're looking at optics. I think optics are starting to go down a little bit in price because I think places like Hollow Sun, Vortex, they're making a lot more quality optics, and they're starting to drive the price down of the really high-end optics because they're showing that you don't have to charge $800 for a really good optic that's going to work well. Not saying the $800 optic is going to not work, it's going to be probably the best you can run, but they're showing that you could spend $250 and still get a really quality optic, but they're just bringing the prices down. So I think that's kind of dropping the prices of things. So $170 is a really good price. I think the aestheticness of it, I think the way it looks, it's really sharp. It does have an MRO look to it, which I think the MRO has a really sharp look. So I do like that style they went with. You've got your windage and elevation, of course, there. And then you have 11 brightness settings, and it is nice and bright, daylight bright for sure. And then there's 2 night vision. So I don't have night vision. I'm looking at getting that here eventually, but it's nice that they add that on that feature, so you have a little extra features with this. Now it comes with 3 different risers that you want to choose. This is the highest riser, so I do like that they offer risers as well, because a lot of optics, I know a lot of people are really liking the higher risers now. It's kind of the new thing. So it's nice that these optic companies are allowing, or not allowing, but they're sending out higher risers so you can make a decision off of what you want. So I put the highest riser on here, and I think it works really well on this gun. It fits my cheek well, everything really well, and especially with like gas mask shooting, things like I've been doing lately, it does work really well with this. So I'm happy that they added that. You can remove the riser and just run off the base that it comes with, and this is your normal T1, H1, I think it's called, mounting solution. So it is that normal, like, standard that everybody runs for their riser. So if you don't like this riser, you can get a different riser, and it's going to work on most of your risers that you can purchase. The next pro is going to be that battery life. That's 50,000 hours of battery life, and that is quite a lot of hours. So you can leave this on and you should be just fine for a long time. So you can, I know a lot of people just replace the batteries once a year, which would be a good idea, but you're going to be able to easily make a year with this, if not a lot longer. I think that's, don't quote me on this. I think it's like equivalent of like 5 years. So I'll do a look and I'll put a notation here on exactly what it is. But the equivalent is quite a few years if you leave this on continuous at like 6. So 50,000 hours is a lot of battery life. Another pro is going to be the larger field of view. That's pretty self-explanatory. They made it a little bit larger, so you don't have such a small hole to look through, and I think that is a benefit. Now next, and I can't put it as a pro because I haven't done the testing myself, but in my experience and what I've seen, Primary Arms does make really durable products. I was talking to their marketing guy, and he said that he put a lot of rounds. I think it was over 5,000 rounds through a SCAR with this, and it never lost its zero. He did a drop test. It did dent the housing, but it never lost zero. So from what I have seen from Primary Arms and what I've tested personally on my other Primary Arms stuff, is they do make really quality and durable optics. So when you look for someone like them, they're usually coming out with new things, cool things, and from what I've seen, they've been durable. So I'm not going to put it as a pro because I personally haven't tested this one, but I would say it probably is just like the rest of them. Now, this one does just have the dot. Now, the new one that they're going to be coming out with here later is going to have the Acs Reticle, which I know is like one of the coolest reticles out there. I love it. It's in this 2x, which is such a cool optic. I'll be doing a review on this later. But that one is going to be more expensive and it has some different little features on it. So I am hoping to get my hands on that because, again, that is just such a cool reticle that they have on there. So the next one will have the Acs Reticle. I don't know if it will be etched or not or how that works, but you will have more options for this setup eventually. It's just not out yet. So you got the red dot will be out right now, and then the ACSS will come later. Now let's get into some cons. One of the biggest cons that I found is just going to be the fact that they didn't add that auto on, auto off. I'm thinking maybe why they did it is because they wanted to cut the cost even cheaper and make this a really good entry-level optic, but I really think if they would have added that feature and just jumped the price 50 bucks, and don't quote me on it because I don't know if that's just 50, maybe it's more than that to add that feature, I don't know, but I feel like the extra cost would have been worth it with something like this. I think this is a cool little optic. I think the design's well. I think they're going in the right direction for this, so maybe their version 2 will have that added on there, but I think the auto on, auto off would have been a really good idea, and it would have made this a higher choice for me personally, because that's what I'm looking for a primary. So this unfortunately will never go on a primary for me just because it doesn't have that feature, but I think this does make a really good range optic. And that's gonna be about the only con for me, honestly. As long as you're looking at this for what it is, it's not gonna be a $500 optic. It's not an EOTech, it's not an Aimpoint. It's a $170 a standard level optic. It is not the fancy of the fancy. It's not meant to be. It's not trying to be. So it is what it is. So as long as you look at it like that, I think this does make a really good optic. So as for cons, I'm not gonna do a bunch of cons based off of those because it's not trying to be those. So what I would end up putting this on is something like a range gun, something you use quite often at the range, because I think this would be a really good optic for that. I think it's going to be able to handle everything you do for it. As a primary use, is something that you're going to put as your primary gun, you're putting in a backpack, you're carrying with you daily. Probably not. I'll be carrying this with me daily soon, and I'll be replacing the optic soon. I've just put it on this because this is what's getting the most rounds through it, so I really wanted to put it on this to really get a good feel for it. All in all, I think Primary Arms does have a really good start with this. This is their XLX models, which is like their standard, kind of their beginning grade, and then they have the GLX, which is here as their mid-grade. So they have a tier system here. So I think for their first tier, I think this is a really good optic. So if you guys want to pick one up for yourself, go check out Primary Arms. They have a lot of different optics. I've been trying out a lot of theirs, their LPVOs, their prismatics, now the 2x. So they have a lot of new things they're coming out with. They're really, something I noticed is they talk with the community and they listen really well. They figure out what people want, they listen, and then they go out and they actually do it. So that's something I really like to see with them, and that's why I like working with Primary Arms, because they make really good optics and they listen as well. So it's really cool, and of course their ACS reticle is probably the best reticle out there right now. It's just so useful, and if you really know how to use all the features with it, it's just something that you can't beat. If you guys want to help out me and the page, there's two ways to do that. You can go down in the description. You can go to my Patreon. You can put my Patreon. I want to give a shout out to Jimmy. He is a top tier Patreon where he gets a shout out in my videos. He would also have his like social medias linked, but he doesn't have social medias to link on this. So I want a big shout out to him. I really appreciate that. That helps me out so much. So if you guys want to become a Patreon, that would help out. Another way is to go to my website. From there, there's links like Brownells, Aero Precision, PSA. Anything you purchase with those links gives me a small kickback and shows those companies that I'm generating traffic, which is a big help for me. So if you want to do those two things, that helps out me and the page a lot. If not, it's not a big deal. I just appreciate you guys like, comment, share, subscribing, and watching the videos. Another big shout out is a company, Howitzer. You guys have probably noticed I pretty much wear these shirts every day, especially if you guys follow my Instagram. I'm always wearing these. These are my favorite shirts. It's pretty much taken over my closet. These guys are a big supporter of me and the channel, so I really appreciate them for that. And one of the reasons I like them so much is because they give 5% of their proceeds to charity. They raised a ton of money last year, and I think what they're doing and what they have been able to do is really cool, and I think they're great for the community. So if you guys want to check them out, I'll put a link down in the description. You guys can pick up some shirts. They're doing some first responder shirts. I think they did that a little while back where they were doing stuff for first responders. They just do a lot for people. They do a lot for the community. They do a lot for first responders, military guys, veterans, and that means a lot. So I really like what they're doing. I really support them, and the shirts are awesome. So that's another benefit, obviously. So definitely go check them out, and I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you guys so much. The CZ Scorpion is going really well, this build. Like I said, I always like to keep my information at the end of the video, so if you guys really want to continue listening on what's going on with the page, you guys can just watch at the end of the video. I don't like to fill up the review, because the people that just come here just for the review, they don't want to hear me talk about my builds and projects and everything for 2 minutes. They just want to actually hear the review. So that's why I keep everything here at the end of the video. So the CZ Scorpion, we're adding some new things. Probably by the time I've posted this, because I'm filming this pre-release, I'll probably have a new optic for this. I just changed out the brace on this. I was running the PDW brace. I was testing that. Now I threw a different adapter on here, and I threw an SB Tactical FS 1913 brace on here. So we're trying out some new things, testing out different things that I like. I might throw a different Surefire on here, so it might actually look completely different by the time this video is actually released. So it's kind of hard to know what I'm doing when this gets released, when everything's done. So project's going really well. This thing has been pretty much flawless. I don't count the malfunctions I had after installing the trigger, because I was trying to figure out a couple things. I took the whole thing down, put a trigger in, had a couple malfunctions. I don't count those just because I personally was messing with the trigger, and I don't think that's the fault of the gun. So other than that, the gun has been flawless. This thing's super fun, and if you guys want to follow that, check out my Instagram. I always post daily on there, and I post on my story. Also, if you don't have that, I can do Facebook. Everything from my Instagram gets shared directly to my Facebook, and actually my Facebook just passed my Instagram in following. My Facebook somehow blew up. So appreciate everyone that checks me out there. I post daily on both of those. So if you guys want more information, go ahead and shoot me a comment. I always respond to all the comments. I try to at least respond to all the comments. I'm usually pretty quick about that. If you guys have more personal questions, you guys can DM me on either Facebook or Instagram. I'm always here to talk and help people out. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.